So there's some front-end frameworks that are specifically for front-end, which we're going to be learning. React is a front-end framework. Angular is a front-end framework. These are all JavaScript. What else is there? There's Rails. And there's Rails is a full-stack framework for Ruby. What's the new front-end framework? JavaScript. It's like really lightweight. Vue. These are all frameworks that these developers think is the best way to create an application. So they all operate a little differently, but the end result. And that's what Django is. Django is a web framework, full stack framework. So here's the request response cycle that we should be getting familiar with regards to the process of like building each and every part of our application. This WSG web server gateway interface, you've seen that file, you might not know what it does. It essentially just turns HTTP requests into Python objects, and it goes into the URLs PY. Pretty familiar with that by now. Goes into views, because the URLs renders the views a view method, which handles all the business logic. So grabs stuff from the database if needed, and then it manipulates it. Then it passes it on to our template, which handles all the presentation layer logic. Everyone kind of familiar with that? Just the request response cycle. Goes into URLs. The biggest thing, URLs, views, and then templates, which keeps passing it along. Cool. So up until today, we've literally just been building CRUD apps. What is a CRUD app?
Create, update, destroy.
Yep. Create, read, update, destroy. Everything's a CRUD app. Facebook, Amazon, Twitter, except Twitter, I don't know if you can update. You can only destroy. You can't update your tweets.
So, Facebook doesn't destroy.
Well, I mean, you can actually delete a post, but it might not actually be deleted in a database. But else? How is like a CRUD app different than like just a website?
I don't know. Websites that is the view only.
Yeah. So a website is just something that just displays information, like my top breed, code platoon is one.
Doesn't rely on instances involved.
Yeah, it doesn't connect to a database. It just, here's information. Code platoon, here's information. It doesn't really, I guess there's a file now, but I think that takes you to like a different form. But yeah, it's just, this is just a website where like Amazon is an actual CRUD app. You can create a card, add stuff to database. This is reading stuff from database. So yeah. But one thing we've been missing from a CRUD app, or CRUD apps we've been building, is users and authentication, like signing in and that type of thing, which is really important when you want to build an application. To keep track of users. Each user has some information about it. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is using Django's built-in authentication capability. So all this is in the curriculum lecture today. So after this, I recommend going back, doing it again. So first, we're just going to create a new Django project called My Project. So how do we do that? So in Django Auth, that's what we're doing authentication. So Django admin, start project, let's just call it My Project. There we go, we have My Project. The first thing, CD into My Project. And always the first thing we want to do is create a virtual environment. Why do we need to create a virtual environment?
We don't risk messing anything else up.
That way we don't risk messing anything else up.
Like we're containing everything in its own environment so that it doesn't interact with anything else.
Correct. We're containing everything in its own environment. So if there's other applications that are going to be on our machine that require different packages or libraries, they don't conflict with one another. So we want to start fresh. It's like, what is it? I heard John say it's like a bubble wrap, like insulated. So we want to create a virtual environment. You can call this whatever we want. We just call it BNB. So we want to go activate our virtual environment. Activate virtual environment. If I called it literally something else, it would literally say something else. Now we also, so we're starting a virtual environment from scratch. So there's nothing installed right now. We have to install Django again. So we want to use Django. Install packages. Cool. Clear that. Zoom in a little bit. So manage.py, there's a virtual environment. And we're not going to be creating anything in the database. We're not creating, let's create a database. Let's get used to creating databases. Instead of using the SQLite database. So in our manage.py, in our settings, we're currently using all apps, using a SQLite database. We want to use a Postgres database. So let's create a database, create DB called Django Auth. This is what we're doing today. All right, so Django Auth. Oh, nope. We're going to be using a Postgres SQL database. And here is where we want to name the actual database. Get used to doing this. So if you've just been using the SQLite database, start using Postgres.
I can't download Postgres so I can use SQL.
Okay. Obviously, if there's a technical Django, all right. So now we want to migrate because we're not actually creating any models right now. We're just using the built-in Django authentication system. So we want to Python manage.py. We want to migrate all the existing migrations. Oh no, what happened? Ah, damn it, so I got PG2. Right. Clear. Pip install. Guess what? PG2, right? There we go. Try that again. There we go. We applied all these migrations. These are all the ones that are built into Django. We have Auth. Great. So let's look in our settings and look at our installed apps and see what we've kind of been. We've been using admin. We haven't been using any of this other stuff. Right now, we're going to actually be using the built-in Auth app in Django. So in order to do that, let's go to our URLs. And what do we usually have to import? Include. And here, I do path, accounts, built in, include, Django, contrib, auth, so that's Django contrib auth, and we want to grab the auth URLs. And what that's going to give us access to. Bring over the documentation. The authentication views. Django provides several views that can be used for handling login, log out, password management. So like reset, update, delete. These make use of stock auth forms. So we're going to be getting to that. But you can pass in your own form as well, blah, blah, blah. These different methods to implement these views in your project. The easiest way to include them, include the provided URL, is this, which we just did. And what that gives us access to are all these URLs. It gives us access to all of that just by adding this one line of code. So this is kind of similar, like accounts, login with the name, login, how we did the named routes. So now, in order to create, once we do a login, what do we usually render? We usually go to, we essentially need templates, right, to render a login page. So usually we'd already have created an app, and within our app we'd have templates page, templates directory, and within the templates directory we'd have the directory of our app name, and then we have templates in there. But since we are creating templates like a login page, sign up page, all that at the project level, our templates need to go at the project level. In line with our manage.py. So I'm going to create a directory. That's not right. At a project level. Called templates. And then here is where we're going to have pretty much all our templates. Let's look at some documentation. See them in here. So authentication form, template name. I just want to say, I don't know if this is in this specific documentation. This is all in the lecture. So in our templates, we also want to create another directory called registration. Did I spelled it right? Yep. And in our registration, because we want to create a login first, we're going to create a login HTML. Then in our login, HTML 5, login, in our body, we're kind of familiar with this login form method post, just srf token, form SP.
Is that copy and paste or is that a shortcut?
That was just copy and paste. Yeah. So writing it all. So, but now we need to give our project access to these templates. So in our settings, there's this constant variable called templates. We have this little thing called dirs, which is directory. So we want to know, this project wants to know where the project templates exist, like the file path to it. So in here, we'll do os.path.join base directory, comma, templates. So this os path join is literally just the root path to this templates folder, which exists right here. And we need that. And then at the very bottom, static URL, we're going to also want to put this other variable called login redirect URL. Redirects, when we log in, it's going to redirect to this just backslash. So we have access to all this stuff. But if we looked at the request response cycle, we would normally go, well, we have all access to all this stuff. Log in, log out. I'm going to start the server just to see if anything shows up yet. CD my project, Python manage.py. What is it? One second. Host 8,000. Cool. Does admin work? Admin works. Does accounts / login work? Look at that. Whoa. Right, something running with that now. all that's, now what if I do log out?
Keep that bucket.
So not like nothing. Anyway. 8,000/accounts. So this is all built in. Thanks for logging in. Log in again. So that's admin login accounts. And that's that template that we made. This registration. View. So in our URLs, usually after we go to our URLs, we go into our views UI file, right? And we run some view method that we created, like list detail or whatever.
Yeah.
Django has a bunch of built-in like template views. That's what they're called. They're class-based views, class-based template views, or generic views, or base views. Really, they're class-based views. So in here, so right now we're going to admin accounts, but when we redirect after login, it just goes to /. So when we log in, it's just gonna log in, redirect URL. It's just gonna go to /. So it should go to right here. But right now, we don't have anything. We don't have a template or a method to handle that. So in our URLs, we're gonna from Django.views generic, they're also called generic views, base import template view. And let's look at some documentation. Class-based views, right here. Built-in class-based views API. Class-based views API, blah, blah, blah. So we have base views. Here's this template view. So renders a given template with the context containing parameters captured in the URL. So it's going to grab parameters from the URL and render this template. See, just like see the home page as view. So it's going to look something like this. So I have like a template view. See, there's base views, there's generic display views. Each one of these views, these built-in views, does something a little differently. So let's look at list view, a list of objects. So a page representing a list of objects. So for list view, you might want to list in order to use, if you wanted to use list view, it'd be like that first page of like list all the posts or list all the comments or list all. You might want to list because you pass in all your objects. So this represents a list of objects. So if you wanted to use a built-in class-based view, you might want to use list view. Let's bring it back. So template view just renders context. This is like the basic one. So you kind of want to do it something like this. Home page. But instead of home page, we'll just do template view in our URL. So path. What path do we want this to display on? Empty string. And we'll want to do template view dot as view, which is a built-in method in the template view. Then we're going to we can pass in the template name that we actually want.
So the empty string means a bit of text everything, right?
It means only when it goes to just the /. So when it just goes to
The main
this one.
Yeah.
So take in a template name And what template name do we want to, let's do home.html, which we haven't created yet, but we will. Then basic name, URL. Oh. So in our templates, we don't want to do this in our registration directory because it's not involved in registration with regards to registration. We want to do it on the templates level, HTML. In addition to doing a home, what else have we been doing with regards to templates? How are templates changed? We've been doing what other HTML?
Creating like a base.
A base template. So let's create a base first. Base.html. There. Just copy and paste that. So title. So we got this block content and block. We also have this new block Jingle thing called block title. So we're able to pass in a specific title as well. So in our home, we want to do the extends base HTML. So we can do a block title, home, and block. So that block title, home, will show up in right here. Do you have any questions so far? So in our URLs, we imported all the routes, the built-in Django auth authentication views. Going to \accounts, which includes all these, which kind of showed a little bit earlier, like what it looked like. Now we're creating another route at just \, and we're using a class-based template view, or also a generic view, but they're called class-based views. Template view, running a method as view, and we're passing the template name. This is the template that we want to render. Let's see if this works. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. There we go. We're not logged in. Logged in. Let's look at home. It says block content if user is authenticated, which is a method that you can pass in. I blank username with a link to URL logout, which we haven't created yet. Actually, I think this is built in. Yep. URL login. Else URL. Or you, if the user isn't logged in, it's gonna say you are not logged in, and it's gonna give us a link to the login. Right here, accounts, login. And here we can log in if we have a user. Right now we don't. So in our login, we want to change some stuff. Instead of just having a login, we want to extend the base. Inside the body, extending the base, putting the block title, the login, and inner block content. It's right there. And we also need end block. That works. It's weird. I'm just gonna get rid of that stuff. Do this. Same thing. Okay. So we're able to log in, or we have like a login page. We go to /home. You're not logged in. You can log in. But first, we don't have a user. So how do we create a user? Python manage.py, create super user. Create at email.com. Create, cool. Let's see if we can actually log in now. Refresh. You can actually see in our database to see if this user exists. There we go. Here are my databases, Django Auth, Auth user, right here. So it already has like the built-in user model, Auth user model already has all this stuff in here. So TA2 create, email, is staff, is active, is a super user, true. Here's my password that's been encrypted. Probably solved it. See if this works. TA create, 1, 2, 3. Hey, TA3. Cool. Now, log out. Oh, no. Oh. But we actually want, we can log out, log back in. But see, it takes us to admin. I don't like that. So our log out redirect. Where do we actually want to redirect? We actually want to redirect it to the home page. So in our settings, where we got login redirect URL, what can we get? What should we put here? Log out redirect. Log out redirect URL. And we can actually put in. We can actually put in the name of that URL. The name route. So let's refresh, log in, TA create, 1, 2, 3, log out. There we go. Got a basic login, log out. Cool. Right? Cool. So in order now so we can log in, log out. What else do we need to do?
Create account.
Create an account. We need to sign up a user. So when we have to sign up a user, we actually have to create an app that is just like we have been doing, creating an app and going into views and doing all that. So in our project, ls, so in here we actually have to Python manage.py, start app, we have to call it account. So here's our accounts. We have to register our app in settings, accounts, and now in here, path accounts, want to include, just like we have been doing, accounts URL. And where do we want? So here we have accounts, log out, password change, password reset. This is all included in this portion of Django, the auth use. What are we missing in here? I think Danny
Yeah,
said
creating a.
create an account. So instead of login, we want sign up. So that's what we have to do here in our app. We have to create a sign up page. So accounts, URLs, in our accounts project, we create a URL, urls.py, and then from Django.urls import path, and from blank import views, like we have been doing, but we don't have anything in views yet. We need URL patterns. This is all stuff been doing the past 3 days. Path. So in here goes the accounts. Goes into our accounts URLs. We want sign up. But here, then now we have to go into like views and create a method. So before I finish this part, let's go into our views. And Django has a bunch of auth forms, authorization forms. That's bad. Source code, I don't know, look at the source codes for that. Django. So source code again. That'll be down here somewhere. User objects, creating a user, password, authentication views. For user. User creation form. That's not it. No, I want the docs.
Do one level above that. On that right.
Right here.
Yeah, where you were just scrolling down, just the one level above. To above the forms, maybe, or is that all source code stuff?
It's all source code. Anyway, where I can't find it. So in our views from Django, contrib, auth, forms, import, there's a user creation form. User creation form. So user creation form. And then it's a built-in form, the model form for creating a user. That's what this is. It's already built into Django. We also need it from Django, URLs, import, reverse lazy, which is essentially just a utility function, which is the same as a reverse. There's like a reverse function. So reverse lazy Django, utility function that operates the same as this. Reverse lazy. So you essentially just want to, when you, on a successful URL, you can type in reverse lazy and import the route you want to go to, and it'll automatically reroute you or redirect you there. And also, what I do from Django, use generic, kind of like what we did before in our generic, instead of base, you can use generic edit, import, create view. Create view is another class-based view that displays a form for creating a user object. We can actually Google create view Django, create view. So a view that displays a form for creating an object. Redisplaying the form is validation errors. So it actually will display errors if the form isn't filled out correctly. So in here, before we were doing like def, like details, and then passing in a request. Right now, we're actually going to create a class-based view. Class sign up, and we can pass in create view. So we're inheriting all the methods and everything from this create view class. And in here, we're going to add some attributes, form, class, and we're going to pass in this user creation form. We're going to assign it that. And then we're going to do, on the success URL, we're going to do reverse lazy, and we're going to go back to login. And the template name, we got to give us the route to this template name, so registration / sign up .html. So let's go back to our app URLs, import views. We can do views, sign up. And just like we did in our My Projects, this template view, we can do as view. We don't have to pass anything in, because in our views, everything's kind of already here. We could pass in the template name like we did before, then we wouldn't need it here. So let's just keep this everything within the views. We can do name equals sign. So we created our new sign up view, but we don't have a sign up template yet. So in our project templates, our registration, let's make a sign up. I'll paste that. Do extend space, block, sign up method post, CSRF token, submit sign up, and that's it. So let's go back to here. Oh no, down there. Path counts, include Django. I think I know what I did. Commas. Oh, what's going on with that? Improper config, Django core exception. Probably caused by circular. Let's see. Sign up, name sign up. Django URL.
Oh, add singular pattern, URL pattern on the other URLs.py, the other file. Oh, good. I thought I saw that.
Yeah.
Reference singular.
Oh, no. Why did that?
You missed an S.
I missed an S.
Yeah.
Go.
There you go.
Where did I miss it?
Four. Plural.
Oh. So it works. All right, log in. Nope. So TA pre. 1, 2, 3. Hello, log out. Log in. If I go to sign up, all that stuff is already with that user creation form. user creation form that has all that stuff. Username, we can do like password, ABC, 1, 2, 3, ABC, 1, 2, 3. All right, I did Tom, ABC, 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Sometimes when the submit button doesn't like it's grayed out until the confirmation password enters, would that be like an on keystroke check?
Yeah, it'd be like in the HTML, it would have an attribute called deactivate or disabled, and then every time you do a keystroke, run a function, check it, and then if it met all the parameters, then the JavaScript function would change that specific login in the HTML instead of saying inactive, or what did I say? Disabled to active. Or just, yeah. That's what that was. So let's just go over what we did. Does anyone have any questions?
Tom, I have a question.
Yep.
So if you use this like pre-made template form, how would you then style it? Like, how do you get access to that view or that HTML to apply CSS or, refer it to a certain style sheet?
Yeah. I've never actually styled it before. I think good question.
I mean, you could like set up a basic HTML and then link everything to that, kind of like how we did with the event calendar.
Like a base CSS, basic HTML.
Okay. And then
Within like
Oh, yeah.
login and HTML, just extend it.
Apparently, you can also render each field individually instead of letting Django render the whole form. Use this template for that.
so in here, this is where you do all the styling, like if you wanted to, for login and sign up. Oh, like how you style the form specifically, right?
Django has documentation
Yeah.
for customizing the form template.
Customize Django form template. Stack Overflow. The form as table. Attributes class. So you can add, I guess, attributes to it, or there we go. Set field widgets. How to render Django form manually, how to apply bootstraps, because that's the Django form.
What might
Oh, hello. Part 50? I want it. A good ratio for it. Cool. So yeah, there is a way. I haven't styled it before. I just done all the basic stuff.
Will the way we deliver front end for the individual projects change? Like, will that matter? I guess will we be doing it a different way?
Yeah,
Instead of-
like so you will be mainly doing it in like React, the front end. So it will change. So you'll be using like React components, and you'll be able to style things individually there. But yeah. So any other questions? I'm gonna stop